So there we are recording. Lots of times I forget to do that at the beginning of these webinars. So thanks everybody for being here today. I'm really happy to have Josh Wintoniak with us. He's with AutoStar CompuSystems, and he's going to give us some information on point of sale systems. And then he's going to talk a little bit later about how to integrate either the point of sale systems that you have or the ones that will integrate with different e-commerce platforms. He's got lots of experience working in the technology world, and he knows that it's ever evolving. And so I'm just super happy that he was able to join us today and that he's here supporting our local business. So I'll let you take it away, Josh.
Great, thank you very much. Yeah, I was excited to get together with you to talk point of sale and what point of sale is and what it's good for. When we say point of sale, it means many things to many people, and we'll get into some of those details as well. I am the sales manager at AutoStar CompuSystems. It's a technology company that's been around for over 35 years, based in Medicine Hat here. We've been developing and selling our software all across North America, from Alaska down to Trinidad and everywhere in between, primarily to general retail stores, grocery, health, and pharmacy. I've been with AutoStar for about 17 years, really working with retailers, helping them to use technology to better manage their businesses, navigate this kind of new world of all of these different new technologies that are available to them and what their customers are expecting. And excited to kind of share some of that with you. So let's go all the way back to the beginning, though, as a start here. Talk about what point of sale is. We'll also get into some of the pros and cons of the different systems that are out there. I want to give you a bit of a buying guide and what I would be thinking about if I was trying to purchase a system, right, and what I'd be thinking about there. And then talk about some of the new features in e-commerce and kind of what we're seeing in the market today. Sandra is accepting questions through the chat there. We can also open it up at the end if anyone wants to be live potentially for audio, but go ahead and ask those questions and we'll do our best to get to all of them. So going back to the beginning, the humble cash register, where did we start with all of this stuff? So point of sale generally is just the point at which a purchase is made. And in this context, for this discussion, we're really talking about the cash register, the place where somebody comes into your store and they're buying a good or a service. Cash register started in 1879. It's when they were invented, and they were called at the time, or marketed at the time, as the incorruptible cashier. So the whole point of the cash register was to stop your staff from stealing from you, right? That's why the cash drawer dings, so you know that money's coming in. It's why a receipt printed. It's also why prices ended at 99 cents. So somebody had to give you change, right? It was really to stop your staff from stealing. But of course, it's grown into doing many, many other things for you. And we'll talk about not only what happens at sort of the cash register or the POS, but everything that surrounds that. I like to think of the cash register or the point of sale system as really your hub in your store. It's really the hub of your business. That's where the transaction happens, and many things are flowing around that to help you manage your business, and we'll get into that. About 100 years after the first cash register, there was the first barcode scan in a grocery store. It was a 10-pack of Wrigley chewing gum. And, you know, in 100 years, all you saw for innovation, I mean, I'm sure there was many improvements, but really you saw, you know, the fact that they started scanning. So, I mean, things were getting better, but it wasn't a huge improvement. But scanning barcodes really did change what you could expect with your point of sale system, the ability to start managing inventory and tracking sales more closely, and using data around that to help you make better decisions. Shortly after that, actually, AutoStar opened for business in about 82 or so. I was in diapers, but I went back on the Wayback Machine online and pulled a picture of our first website. After that, we had one of the first Windows-based point of sale systems. And then shortly after that, we had one of the first touchscreen point of sale systems that were out there. So, you know, incremental changes over time, over decades, but now in the last 10 years is really where we've seen just an explosion, like we've seen anywhere in technology, just an explosion technology and innovation in the point of sale and retail technology space. So let's talk about where we're at today. And I want to go through the different types of systems that you'll see out there. And then some of the, again, the pros and cons of those. So base level cash box. You'll still see this at a farmer's market. Any, if once or twice a year you need to take money in, this is still going to do the job for you. That's all good. You will still see lots of cash registers out there, right? And they fit a purpose. They're simple, they're fast, they're inexpensive. If you need to use them once or twice a year, that's great. You can take it out of the box, plug it in, it'll be ready to go. So a cash register still has a purpose. But I would argue for most retailers these days, it's not going to do the job, and you're really missing out if you're not using a full point of sale system. From the cash register, we will talk about sort of general scanning point of sale systems. Now, this could be just a general system that you use for a boutique market. And now you can see we're getting into an actual computer-based system, right? We've got a PC. It's running some software on it. We've got all of these different things connected to it, like a receipt printer, a scanner, a cash drawer, a pull display, all of these different pieces to make this thing work. Just going from the cash register to any scanning system, I don't care what software it is, as long as it scans accurately, you should see a 2 to 3% bump in your bottom line. So if you're not sure if you can afford a point of sale system, take a look at your profit. How much are you making? Just by beginning to scan, not using all the other cool things that I'm going to talk about, you're going to see an increase in your profit. That's from just accuracy, better margin control, better inventory, better decision making. So I often tell people that will call into our office, and even if I don't think our software is a good fit for them, I will urge them, I don't care what software you buy, just make sure you buy something that's at least scanning. So for those people that still have a register, it's time to update. So even a general system, and sort of most systems these days, are going to have some core features. But I want to talk about sort of the three big ones that we see for the most part these days, and that I typically would see. So the specialized or vertical specific point of sale systems, and this is what we are doing at AutoStar. We have a great solution that works well for general retailers, but we really try to focus on grocery stores, health food stores, pharmacies. If you have a restaurant, a system like ours isn't going to work well for you. It's not designed for you. There are features that you need in the restaurant that you really need specialized software for. So it might be something as simple as tracking tips. It might be managing tables. It might be tracking the inventory or pours in your bar, right? Whereas a system like ours, a vertical specific system or a specialized system, is going to do things like track produce in a grocery store or track a prescription that's being sold. These vertical specific solutions are very important. So look at your business, think about what your needs are, and that's going to tell you kind of which direction you may want to start looking at. These systems typically are sold by experts, and we'll talk about that, because you need to integrate these different pieces together, right? Bringing all the hardware together, actually installing the system, training you on it. You're typically going to buy that from what we would call a reseller or from the software company like AutoStar directly.
So Josh, can I just ask a question?
Sure.
So a vertical specific, so a restaurant wouldn't use it, but a clothing store would use it? Or is it for something that is a very specific product that you always get, like you use it over and over and over again?
So it would be like, if we're talking about our software in particular, like a clothing store wouldn't be a perfect fit for this, right? So a clothing store, for instance, needs things like the ability to track sizes and colors, right? So you sell the same blue shirt in multiple sizes, multiple colors, and there's special ways to manage that. A restaurant, again, as I said, might need to track tables, right? That kind of thing.
So do you consider that like a horizontal system where there's a number of different things that you're tracking?
Well, so we look at those markets and consider them sort of separate verticals, separate vertical markets, right? So restaurants would be a certain vertical, hospitality, general retail. If I had a hardware store, I might need to do different things than, you know, a spa that handles services, right, for instance, right? So you really are looking for systems that, and you know, where you start is just typing in Google and look for grocery store point of sale. You know, salon point of sale, and you're going to find a long list of systems out there that are meant for your business, right? All of them can sort of do the job for the other ones, but they're really not going to, you know, have those more advanced features to help you out. And we'll get into some of the pros and cons here of each system, and I'll explain why you really want to look at that. The other one I want to talk about, one of the other ones I want to talk about, and that you'll see all over the place these days, maybe for the last 10 years or so, is tablet-based point of sale systems. You'll see these on the counter of your local cafes. You'll see these in, again, you know, some general retailers. These are basic systems. They're sleek looking. They're usually pretty easy to install, get up and running. And then I also want to talk about mobile point of sale systems. And when I'm talking about this, I mean, really what we're talking about is sort of the biggest one out there is Square, and how, what they are going to do for you. And so again, some of the pros and cons and where they fit and where they don't. So with any system that you go with, any point of sale system, there's sort of some things that you should expect to be there. You know, any reputable company that has been in business for, you know, any amount of time, has any amount of customers, there are going to be some very specific things that everyone will have. This may sound silly, but obviously the point of sale, so they build the point of purchase. So you are going to expect that any system that you buy is going to be able to scan items, track sales, do it quickly and efficiently without errors, and make it a seamless experience for your customer. Most will have a customizable touchscreen, the ability to customize the experience for the cashier, and make it easy for them to sell items. Security is going to be, or should be, included with really any system that you buy. It should be a given these days, but it is something that you shouldn't really take for granted. You should ask the question about security and make sure that any system that you buy is taking it seriously. We're talking about not only the old incorruptible cashier scenario where you are watching your staff and thinking about loss prevention, but now we're dealing, you know, these systems are online. We're dealing with the entire internet, hackers, people trying to steal credit card data, people trying to steal customer data. So think a lot about security. Most systems will have some kind of inventory management, allowing you to track your inventory in your store and make smarter decisions about how much product you're bringing in, whether it is a bottle of Tylenol on the shelf of a pharmacy or the amount of meat in the cooler for your restaurant. There's going to be some amount of inventory management. Most systems now will have some kind of suggested ordering to help you bring product into the store where you're not just looking for holes, but you're letting the software do some work for you. They'll all have some kind of way of handling promotions and pricing, tied oftentimes to loyalty programs. I do see a lot of independent retailers will go out and get a simple tablet-based system, and then they'll add on a third-party loyalty program. That's certainly possible, but you're spending a little bit more in many cases to add on those separate programs, and then they're not integrated to the point of sale. So you're kind of dealing with two different systems and data in multiple places. Many systems will have a time clock for your staff to check into and help you manage scheduling. And then, of course, some great reporting and analytics that you would expect in most systems these days, as you know, we're all used to seeing data quickly and easily. And then one of the key things that really drives a lot of the industry is integrated payments. So what I'm talking about there is having that PIN pad connected to the system. So some of the biggest companies in Canada might be like Chase Payment Tech or Moneris. You're going to call them up. You're going to get a payment terminal. You could have it standalone where it doesn't talk to your point of sale system, or integrated where when the sale total is, say, $20, that amount will just show up on the PIN pad. And that process of collecting payments at the point of sale really drives a lot of these other systems. And I will explain why as we get into some of the specifics now. So most of your systems are going to have basic features like this. You really should expect any system that you buy is going to do these kinds of things for you. But now let's talk about some of the specifics. So the pros and cons of a specialized system like ours at AutoStar, or if you're in a restaurant like, you know, Micros or companies like that. So pro side, they are designed for your business, right? And this is just the biggest feature is, again, if you're in a spa and you need to be able to track appointments, you know, a system that's designed for a grocery store is not going to do that for you. If you are, again, in a restaurant and you want to track tables, reservations, a pharmacy system is not going to do that for you. So having a specialized system is going to make sure it's designed for your business. To back that up, it's supported by people that speak your language, and don't take this for granted. If you are a new business starting up and you're trying to figure out how to hire staff, how to order product, what products you should be selling, and that's really what you want to focus on is those products and services that you care about. You want to be able to lean on a technology provider to answer questions for you. So calling up the pharmacy specific point of sale company is going to ensure that when you ask them, you know, about specifics for reporting on prescriptions, they know what you're talking about, they know what most pharmacies do, and they can answer those questions for you right away. So choosing the right technology partner is big when we're talking about specialized systems. Because they're specialized, they also are going to ensure that regulations, certifications, and best practices are met. So another example of that would be in a grocery store, ensuring that the software is certified to weigh products correctly. Something that you take for granted every time you go in a grocery store, but you need to have equipment that is certified to weigh and measure correctly. And again, if you don't have a specialized system that is designed for your industry, you're not going to get that. Now, what are some of the cons of a specialized system? A con would be longer ROI. Now, this is salesman speak for it is going to cost you more money, right? If you want a specialized system to run your business, you're going to have to pay a little bit more to get those specialized features. Possibly less flexible. So if you are a restaurant that wants to start selling, clothing out of the front, and you've gone with just a basic restaurant system or a bar system, they may have trouble selling those clothes out the front. You've got merchandise there. So it might be less flexible for your changing business. As your needs change, specialized system is going to have to somehow change with you. So it's catch-22. You don't want someone that is trying to be everything to everyone, because they'll do nothing very well. But you do need some flexibility to ensure that as your business changes, they can help to meet your needs. Steeper learning curve with specialized system. So you typically are going to need to buy this from an expert, somebody who is going to provide training for you, who's going to help you get up and running. It often involves more of a bigger project. It's not plug and play with many of these systems because they're designed to really fit your business. And they have some specialized features that need a little bit more setup for both you and your staff. Now let's look at some of the pros and cons of a tablet-based system. One of the first things is a low upfront cost. Now, if you remember when I talked about sort of common features of these systems, I talked about integrated payments. Now, this is where that really comes into play. A lot of companies, credit card companies, banks, independent sellers are making a lot of money every time a customer comes into your store and makes a purchase with a credit card. You know that when you see your statements, how much money you're paying just for the privilege of accepting a Visa or MasterCard. All of that money is what drives a lot of these tablet-based systems, these cloud-based systems. So whereas a specialized product is with all the equipment and everything you need to get up and running is probably going to cost you about $4,000 to start. And there'd be an ongoing support fee of maybe $100 a month. These tablet-based systems will, generally speaking, include bundled payments where you have to use their payment processor, and they are going to cost you, maybe $200 and under to get started. But the catch is you are oftentimes locked into a long-term contract, and you're going to pay higher rates on your credit card processing fees. So low upfront cost for these, which is great. You're a small business, you're just getting started maybe. But know that as your business grows, those costs can get quite high and are going to be difficult to manage. So they're good for low volume, right? So if you're just getting started, small cafe, again, maybe a small spa, something like that, you're not putting through a ton of transactions like a grocery store would. These could be a good fit for you. Of course, small footprint, attractive design. You've got this nice looking tablet sitting on your counter. So that's important to many people. And the fact that they're cloud-based and pretty simple in many cases means that you can be up and running very quickly. So you can buy one of these, put it on the counter, plug it in, put your account information in, and you can be up and running pretty quickly. So the cons are kind of what I mentioned with the first point is dubious terms. Just be careful, look carefully at that, look where your business is going, particularly if you're a high volume business. Don't get stuck, in a 3-year term where by the 3rd year, as you've grown, you're paying a ton of money and it's become more expensive than what it was worth. Oftentimes missing key features again. If you have a specialized business, unless you're sort of a basic boutique just selling standard products, some of the, you may want to consider what sort of features that you're going to need. They're specialized for your business. High penalties and cancellation fees, limited support. Oftentimes that stuff is outsourced. You're not dealing with a local expert that can help you out. So you need to be careful on that. And again, that limited flexibility, it's meant to be very good for everyone because again, when you're dealing with something that's fairly low cost up front, they're trying to get as many people signed up as possible. So there's limited flexibility. It's trying to be kind of just a generic system that many people can use because they want as many people's credit card transactions as possible. And then we can talk briefly about mobile point of sale systems. And this is what you'd see like a Square system, or you can even buy Square point of sale system now, which is just, again, a very basic system. Now this takes it to the next level when it comes to payment processing. Their whole business model is aggregating and getting as many people processing credit cards through their system, which is why most of these are free. Now the great thing about that, simple to sign up and begin using. Very low upfront cost, meaning basically free. Mobile friendly, so you can process transactions anywhere. And great for low volume businesses. So whether you are you'll see this in taxis, they need to be mobile. You'll see contractors using things like a Square POS. They need to do a couple credit card sales a day while they're on site. And it's gonna work well for that. Cons, again, limited features. It's mostly just accepting payments and tracking that money coming in. Some risk of account cancellation because they make it so easy to sign up. They would allow some riskier businesses, or what were considered riskier businesses. So if you're selling cannabis, if you're in any kind of adult industries, places like that, once you sign up, they'll let you sign up right away. But you may find out a month later after they look at the data that you're too risky for them and they'll just cancel your account. So you need to be careful about those sorts of things. And the big thing with this, again, is high processing costs. Fine if you're only putting through a couple sales a day, but as soon as you start doing any more than that, you really, you're going to need to go with the point of sale system where you can negotiate the costs of your payment processing. Okay. So I want to talk about sort of the big gorilla in the room, which is e-commerce, and what our stores are doing, what we've been seeing in the industry, and what some of you are probably thinking about as well. So some of the big companies I've got listed there, obviously, Amazon. I regret to say that I've certainly been buying more from Amazon since the pandemic started, as many people have. Alibaba, which is one of the biggest in the world, or less so in North America. And I list Walmart there, which isn't actually that big in the e-commerce world, not compared to Amazon. but they've started allowing third-party sellers on their site as well, like Amazon. So independent businesses can start selling their products through Amazon.com, which is potentially an interesting opportunity for you guys. So, you know, of course, when the pandemic hit, we had lots of customers calling and asking us, well, how do I sell online? How do I do online sales or pick up in store or delivery? Basically, how do I run my business when no one can come to me anymore? So, you know, I would always ask them to, you know, take a moment and step back and think about why they want to launch an e-commerce site. Some of them were just sort of drowning and kind of reacting as quickly as they could. They really need to think about some of the benefits and some of the things to consider here. So obviously one of the first things, the reasons why you'd consider e-commerce, the world is your market. So rather than your street in Medicine Hat or your local, you know, southeastern Alberta, the world is your market. Also remember though, the world is also your competition in this case, right? So, you know, why are people going to buy from you as opposed to buying from Amazon? Of course, respond to pandemic lockdowns. So, you know, as we move forward, you know, certainly possibilities of additional lockdowns or additional restrictions. You want to be ready for those and have a strategy in place. Low cost entry, you know, with support from Apex and the Shop Here program and you know, really these low-cost solutions that are out there, you can be up and running. You know, in the time that it's taking us to have this discussion over lunch today, we could have an e-commerce store up and running. But it is a very high cost to do well. So Target, for instance, you know, I'm sure was very happy that they got to stay open when lockdowns happened in the US. However, they're losing a ton of money because everyone is buying from them and they lose money on every e-commerce sale. As Amazon has done for many years as well. To get the kind of scale and make money on it, it's tough, right? And most of these big guys out there are not making a ton of money off of it, regardless of what their share prices say. Potentially low cost of inventory. You might be able to have some of your suppliers ship direct, and you can just kind of make yourself that middleman, which is great. You also want to be thinking about, because customer expectations. I mean, your customers are expecting you to have some online presence, whether it is related to the pandemic and making things safe and easy for them, or just in general, they're just looking for that convenience. You also want to look at having some kind of online presence, of course, to grow your brand and find those new customers. They don't need to be you know, a couple provinces away. They can be local customers, and having some presence online is obviously important. So where do I begin? Think of your e-commerce platform as another store, right? I mean, when you opened your business, you probably wrote a business plan. You probably thought about your goals, thought about what made you different, the products you were going to sell, what your costs were going to be. Just because it's easy to get up and running with an e-commerce platform doesn't mean you should do that right away without thinking about what you want it to be for you. Are you trying to bring people into your store? Are you trying to just sell lots of stuff online and ship it all over the world because you have like a very specialized product that you think everyone would be interested in? Are you trying to do delivery, local deliveries to people? So be clear on your goals. Put strong systems in place. So if I go and buy something from your new e-commerce store, I'm excited that a local retailer has something online and I can buy from them. But my first experience is slow. They don't respond to messages. I get the wrong product in the box, or it takes forever, or I show up to pick it up and I have to go and pick it up off the shelf anyways. You know, I would have bought from you locally normally, but now you've just given me a bad experience because of this e-commerce site, and I'm less likely to just buy from you normally anyways, right? So make sure you have systems in place to do that. And as traditional retailers that are looking to go online now, the biggest system that you're going to want to make sure you have in place is around inventory management and shipping. So does your point of sale system talk to any e-commerce platforms? When somebody actually places that order online, what happens next, right? If I put something in my cart online and buy it, do you actually have it in the store, right? If you don't, people, the order is delayed, people are upset, you have to call them, whatever the process is, but making sure you have those strong systems in place so that they're not getting a bad experience. You think this e-commerce store is going to start, printing money for you, but now you've actually got less customers because you've kind of upset a bunch of people. Don't complicate things. Use free boxes from Canada Post, flat rate shipping. Don't worry about having specialized boxes and information in every piece. Just get the product to people quickly, efficiently. Don't have a ton of options to keep those costs down. And again, to make it easy, you don't want to make this a cost center, right? You don't want to make it so that you need to hire a whole other person to stand in the back room and handle orders, because there's lots of different things that you're doing and it's complicated. And you're going to need to become a marketing expert. So again, think of it this way. When you opened your business, you thought about where your store would be. You had some great merchandising in the window. You put up a nice sign. You made sure that you're maybe advertising locally, that kind of thing. You need to do all of those things for your e-commerce platform. If all your e-commerce store is doing is delivering to people that were buying from you anyways, I mean, that's great. You maybe keep some customers that would have potentially shopped elsewhere, but you're not really growing your business. You're not getting new customers. So you're going to need to start looking at leveraging some of these fairly inexpensive tools through Facebook, Google, ways that you can market online. If you do go with companies like most e-commerce platforms now have built-in tools to help you post your products online, market them online, do some advertising, whether it be Shopify or BigCommerce or WooCommerce or others, or they're going to help you to do that. So you're going to need to become a marketing expert and think about how you're marketing this business. All right, so tools to get started. Let's assume you've got a point of sale system in place and you're managing your inventory in your store. Of course, your first call is to some of these great local resources that we have, whether it be Sandra's team and Apex, HunchCorp, the local Chamber of Commerce, or certainly go ahead and call me at AutoStar. Even if we're not right for you, I'm always happy to help and get you in the right place. Leveraging some of these great programs that are out there right now, there are so many free, cheap, easy ways to get online. Just make sure that you're being smart about doing it right. And lean on your existing technology team. So this is really where you're going to want to call the guy that handles your website now and say, what can you recommend for e-commerce? You're going to call your point of sale company and say, how can you help me sell online? So for instance, at AutoStar, we integrate with, we'll be releasing this pretty quickly, integrate with a company called Pointy, where we're actually not selling online with Pointy. But what we are doing is making your products show up online so that people can find you and find your store. So later on when they call you or when they need to find a product, they type in Tylenol. It's going to show up saying, hey, Tylenol is available at Josh's store. And this is where the store is. These are the hours, and they actually have some in stock. You're not selling it online. You're not dealing with shipping. You're not dealing with delivery, any of that stuff, but you're helping people find you, and you're making it easy using tools that you've got in place.
Pointy's awesome, Josh. Now, have they integrated that? Is it still going to be a hardware, do you think, or are they going to make it into a software, into an app?
Well, so, and this is what's great, why we've done it is, so to your question, Sandra, it used to be a piece of equipment that you had to buy and plug into your scanner. Mm-hmm. But we are, because it's integrated into our system, it's all software, so it's free. So you basically, you click a few buttons in our software, you're up and running on Pointy, and you're online, right? Just helping people find you, right? Helping, yes. If they Googled something and there was an Amazon ad there, or, an ad to go to Walmart, your local products are going to show up there. And then it's tied into Google ads as well. So you can promote specific products, promote your company. So again, you're just trying to make it easy for people to find you and come in and buy from you.
Right. We had another question. Thoughts on selling sites like Rebubble, Etsy, etc. Those are great. And again, think about the types of products that you are selling, right? So Etsy, you're going to have some kind of specialized product typically it's unique and people are going to be looking for, which is great.
that's part of why we integrated with this next program called Ecom Dash. And Ecom Dash is what we call middleware software. So our software talks to Ecom Dash, which allows you to talk to lots of different companies. And you can use Ecom Dash independent of our software. You can just subscribe to it. It's like 60, 70 bucks a month. And this allows you to sell on multiple different channels. So we have some stores that have our point of sale talking to Shopify, but then they also have products that they sell on Amazon. And we have one store that has Amazon US and Amazon Canada. And all that data is coming out of our software, going to Ecom Dash, and then going to those other platforms. So Ecom Dash could allow you to do the same thing, even without a point of sale system. You could be updating a product in Ecom Dash, and it can show up on your Shopify store. It can show up in your Etsy store, on eBay, and on Amazon, all at the same time, right? So it's for those people that are selling on multiple channels and giving you a way to manage it. And again, it's 70 or 80 bucks to subscribe to it, so it's not too onerous.
And Pointy, is that something that has to be integrated into your POS system, or is that something you can subscribe to as well?
So Pointy, kind of as you had mentioned, Sandra, you can go with really any scanning system can use Pointy, right? They will sell you a box for a couple $100 that you plug into your scanner. That's just going to start uploading data to the internet. Now, that's not as good as having an integrated system, which is what we're going to be offering here. It's a couple months away before it's released. And because an integrated system is going to know, it's going to do all of this automatically. It's free, and it's going to include inventory information. So whether or not you have the product, not just whether you scanned it and that was the last one you sold, right? That kind of thing. So it'll have a lot more information in there.
Okay.
Any other questions? Did you have any other questions?
No, those were the ones that
Great.
were on there.
Great. Well, so I've talked about the different types of point of sale systems out there. I've tried to be as I guess, transparent as possible, the pros and cons of the ones that I've seen. I'd certainly be happy to answer any questions people have about what systems they should be going with, what considerations they have. If they're looking for some referrals to companies that can provide them with systems, I can certainly do that as well. You can certainly reach out to me directly by email or certainly give me a call directly. Always happy to help. But if there's any other questions now, I'd be happy to answer them.
I also just wanted to let people know, I've been in touch with a fellow out of Calgary. He's gotten quite a bit of press lately. He's building a site called, he's built a site called Made in Local Shops. And he got a shout out from Premier Kenny the other day even. And so he's been in touch with us as a municipality because we were sort of forward thinking on the shop here. And they are offering, they don't know what their pricing structure looks like quite yet, but they're offering a landing page that is, that's almost like an Amazon. So they're trying to create local Amazons. So you go into it, it's almost like things that are open. So you go into Made in Local Shops, and you can there's a pull down menu for all the different municipalities throughout Canada. So if your local people want to shop in Medicine Hat, they can pull Medicine Hat, and then they can see all of your product, your inventories. And they've created a plugin that integrates your Shopify e-commerce site, and they're going to do the same thing with Square and Wix and all those other sites that are out there. And so you'll be able, what you do is you create yourself a merchant account, and then you it says, are you already online? You say yes. You click on Shopify or whichever site you're on, you put in your URL, and it instantaneously uploads your inventory. And it's all consistent looking and all of those things. And so so that's kind of an exciting opportunity for businesses. And because it not only will it get people, so what we need to do is market to our consumers, right, to get them onto it, but also if people are on there, they'll be able to type in pottery and it'll come up with all the companies. So you'll be able to still use it on a global scale, but also on a local scale.
Yeah, this is like the local mall, right? You want to be able to go to the
Yes.
mall and buy locally, but you don't have to go to 10 different web pages and who's got what, and they have it in stock. So you can go to one place to do this. And yeah, I've
Correct.
seen that in other markets as well. And it works well for independent business. It just makes sense to do it.
Yeah. I can give people the ability to chat if they would like to. I'll just do that. And they're muted. I think they come in muted, so they can unmute if they have any questions or if they want to bring anything up. So they just have to unmute themselves, I think, to be able to join into the conversation if they have anything. Well, it doesn't look like anybody's unmuting, Josh. So anybody can send more questions if they have them to me if they want. I'll just type my email here, and then I can either forward you to Josh, or he's given you his email address there as well. And I really appreciate you coming on today and spending the time to explain some of these different opportunities there are with point of sale systems. I had no idea on some of the things that you shared today, so I'm really happy you were able to join us.
Thanks again for the opportunity. Have a good day, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.